hope your day's going wonderful. I am so glad you're joining me. I'm back again to share another card making project with you. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. If you guys have been here for a long time, I know a lot of you have stuck with me. I appreciate you all so much and welcome back. Today we're going to create a card using a few items from the Simon Says Stamp Sweetheart release. This is a brand new release that Simon has this month, and I'll leave a link down below if you want to check out the entire release. But the items we're going to be using is a couple die sets and a background stamp set. We're using the Charming Daisy die set. This is nice because it's a layering coneflower, which is really pretty. Coneflower slash daisy. And we're also going to be using the Fancy Sweethearts die set. This creates a nice greeting that says Sweetheart. And the nice thing is, when you die cut it out, it's just one piece, so you don't have to fuss with letter placement. Usually the size on the front of the Simon Says Stamp envelope is the size and roundabout of the die itself. So it's a good size die, and then you also get the shadow to go with it. I'm going to be using this on a card as a greeting, and then I'm also going to be using this real pretty background stamp. This is the Regal Hearts background cling stamp. It's a 6x6 red rubber cling stamp. We'll be using this on our card. In fact, we'll be doing some stamping first to create a background. I want a real light background using this stamp, so I already took it out of the package. What I'm going to do is take my watermark ink, and I'm going to use the one that came in the Simon Says Stamp card kit last month. I'm going to go over this background stamp here. I'm keeping it on the plastic, you can see. If you want to put it in your stamping positioner, you could do that. But sometimes it's just easier to ink this up. And I'm going to be using my Spellbinders Fog cardstock. I'm going to place it on here. And then I'm going to place some scratch paper right over the top. And I like to use my stamp press tool and kind of push down that watermark ink in my background. This is my stamp press tool from PinkFresh Studio. It's really nice because it has a felt, so it slides over paper. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up here. You can tell it's a nice juicy ink pad. I'm going to use my white embossing powder, and I'm going to go over our image here. Now the white on the Spellbinders Fog cardstock, I think Simon Says Stamp also has a fog cardstock, and I will link that down below too. But it creates a really nice, almost tone-on-tone look. Let's bring in our heat gun, and we'll melt this. Okay, I brought in my hot hands, cute little tool, and there's our background. This is an A2 panel, so it's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, but isn't that so pretty? It's a real stunning background. I'm going to put this off to the side, and what we're going to do next is do some die cutting. Let me put this away. Okay, we're going to die cut our Charming Daisy and our Fancy Sweetheart. We have some red cardstock, and I'm going to die cut out my Sweetheart 3 times with the red. We're going to layer them together to create a little bit of dimension. With our shadow, I'm going to use white cardstock. And then for our Charming Daisy, I'm going to die cut this out with white cardstock, and then I'm also going to die cut it out with a green cardstock. This is Spellbinders Peridot cardstock. Okay, we have a little bit of die cutting to do, not too much, but I'm going to run this through and I'll be right back. I ran everything through my die cut machine, and when I die cut out my daisy, what I did was I left the center in here. I think it's just going to be easier for me to ink blend the color. Or you could actually take that die and die cut out those flower centers with yellow cardstock. I'm just going to use some inks to do that. Okay, so I don't need the white, but I am going to keep these because you can always color it in with your inks. And then we have our green daisy, which if you go over this with blue ink, you could probably create a Gerber daisy with this. So I'll keep these in my package for later on. Okay, we're going to do a little ink blending I mentioned. I'm going to be using my olive ink from PinkFresh Studio. I'm going to bring in my little grit mat here so it doesn't slide all over the place. And then I'm also going to be using one of my little blending tools here. I'm going to pick up a little ink and I'm just going to add a little color to the edges. Okay, and then I have some yellow inks. I have a light yellow. This is PinkFresh Studios Lemon Whip. And this is where I'm going to ink blend directly on this negative piece. I'm going to add some color to our daisy centers. And then I'm going to use a darker yellow. This is Marigold. And I'm going to add a little extra color off to the side here. And then we can just punch these out. And our flower centers are good to go. To create the daisy, it's very easy. We're going to add a little glue to the very top, and then we'll add the piece that has the 5 petals on it. We're going to add this first. We'll just tack this down. And then we're just basically going to layer the other 2. We'll layer the one with 4 petals, right following in that flower center there. This creates a lot of dimension, and then we'll add a little glue once more, and then the flower with the flower portion that has 3 petals, we'll just go ahead and add this. It's hard to tell on camera, but there is quite a bit of dimension there. Really pretty. And then we're going to add more by adding both of our flower centers here. And we'll layer both of our flower centers. And technically I could have only just colored one and got away with that. I'm going to bring in my glue, and I want to add a little glue, to the back of this flower, and we're going to tack it down here behind the stem. And you can place this anywhere, so you can customize it. You could add 3 if you wanted to, but I think 2 is the right amount. And our charming daisy is all done. I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to put a couple foam squares behind the center of the flower and then on the leaves too. Now we're going to layer our sweetheart. You all know how to do this. You just add little dots of glue. You could use your tape runner if you want, but this is a little bit intricate, so I'm just going to use my glue for this. Now I layered all 3 of my red sweethearts together. I'm going to add glue behind the entire thing, and then we're going to layer this on the shadow. And that's our greeting. Okay, now we're going to bring in our card base, which is a standard A2 size card base, and we'll bring in the background that we created. We're going to add some adhesive to our background. And then I'm going to just tack this down on the front of my card base. You know, I think I want the stem to go through my greeting. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our die. Okay. So we have our sweetheart cut out one more time. And then now what we're going to do is position our greeting. Actually, I'm going to pop this up with some foam tape. Okay, we're going to remove the release paper. And then I'm going to place this on my card where I want it. And I think I want to center it towards the lower portion. And I think that's a good spot. Okay, and then I'm going to remove the release paper off of my flower, and then I'm going to add a little bit of glue at the base of my stem. And then I'm going to add my flower where I want to put it here. And then I'm going to flip over my sweetheart, and we're going to add some glue, and we're going to place it right over the top of the ones that we stacked together. So it's basically going to be four sweethearts tall. Okay. So we have that flower tucked between, kind of sandwiched in between our greeting. Now we need a little bit more here, so I'm bringing in my heart dies. These are from Fawn. I have a few floater hearts back here, and I know I have a red one, so I'm going to take this, and then I'm also going to bring in some reverse sentiment strips from Simon Says Stamp. These are, let's see, All the Love reverse sentiment strips. These are so nice for cutting greetings, and I think I want the one that just says I love you. I think that's going to be, or love you. Let's see, love you or I love you. I think I'm going to cut out, since we have two I love yous, I want to cut out the I love you. Let me see if I have any more here. So I'm going to trim down one of the I love yous here. I went ahead and put some foam tape behind my sub sentiment. And I'm going to add this at the very bottom. And then I'll take my little heart, and instead of using a foam square for the heart, I decided to use some pop-up foam. And I'm going to go ahead and add this. Okay, I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of sparkle, and I'm going to use my red stickles. This is Christmas Red. And I'm going to add some shimmer or sparkle to this heart. And do we want some sequins? I think I'm going to bring in some of my Moonshine sequins. I like to place them. Got some big ones in here. I'm going to place them around my greeting and do a little tucking with them. Just kind of went at a diagonal here. We're just going to funnel these back in there, and that will finish off my card today. Today we used a couple new items from Simon Says Stamp, part of their Sweetheart release. A cute little Valentine. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.